Joe Biden, ignition of fury. When you wound or challenge a narcissist, you risk the ignition of fury. You will see it regularly with lesser narcissists, especially lower lesser, middle lesser, and upper lesser type B. They have a low control threshold over their ignited fury, and they invariably respond with heated fury. You receive a rage attack. You might be physically attacked, verbally put down, insulted. Mid-range narcissists tend to utilize cold fury when that is ignited, cold-shouldered, a baleful glare, an icy glance, being ignored. Although heated fury can appear, the mid-range narcissist operating a facade is more likely to utilize cold fury around other people, as this is less obvious to those who contribute to the facade. Upper mid-range narcissists, being more haughty and dismissive, tend to have a roughly 50-50 mix when it comes to the demonstration of both cold and heated fury. President Joe Biden is, as I've explained to you previously, a narcissist. He finds himself in the upper mid-range category. And a recent article in The Times provides us with a useful exhibition of his heated, ignited fury. The article is described as Joe Biden's four-letter temper tantrums leave staff shaken. President Biden is so prone to angry outbursts behind the scenes that some White House staff are now afraid to face him alone. Biden, aged 80, has long been known for showing flashes of temper in public, while in private, past and present White House staff say that he is quick to swear and shout at them, despite his general image as a consensus builder. Accordingly, he ordinarily exhibits a facade to the outside world, a facade, as mentioned, of being a consensus builder, of being a superior individual. However, it's not always the case where he faces a threat to control that his narcissism is able to keep a handle on that threat to control without the demonstration of ignited fury. If you would like a deep dive into understanding the role of fury in the dynamic between you and the narcissist, you can do no better than read my book Fury, which you can find in the Knowledge Vault or on Amazon. With regard to Biden, two authors who have interviewed numerous staff say that the US president's anger tends to flare up when he senses condescension. Thus pausing there. As an upper mid-range narcissist, he regards himself subconsciously as superior to other people. Therefore, where he believes that someone is being condescending towards him, that translates as a threat to control, because it goes against his notion of superiority. Furthermore, his anger tends to flare up when he feels boxed in and there are no good options from the issue under discussion. Where he feels boxed in, that again is a threat to control, which causes the ignition of fury to compel him to do something to nullify the threat to control. Similarly, where no good options are being advanced, that also amounts to a threat to control, and thus his fury ignites in a heated manner to compel him to nullify the threat to control and draw fuel from those around him. Presidential temper tantrums are nothing new. Bill Clinton was known for blowing up, and Donald Trump reportedly screamed at White House lawyers. But Biden publicly warned staff on his first day in office that he would fire you on the spot if they treated colleagues with disrespect. In that essence, he's demonstrating hypocrisy, but that injunction that he issued at that point was done as part of a facade of caring for individuals to ensure that they were treated appropriately. The warning that he issued, of course, is the use of threat to maintain control over people. As I've explained to you elsewhere, Donald Trump is a narcissist, although he's upper lesser type B. Bill Clinton is also a narcissist, but with Clinton, he finds himself in a different category altogether. Bill is an upper greater elite, but even he might in certain instances utilize ignited fury and do so consciously in order to get to the prime aims. Biden is an unaware mid-range narcissist of the upper mid-range variety. Biden's tendency to snap at reporters who ask questions he doesn't like may also help explain why he has held fewer press conferences than all but two presidents, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan, in the past 100 years. Here, this might be as a consequence of his advisors recognizing this tendency and steering him away from issuing fewer press conferences. Or it could be combined with the maintenance of the facade, whereby his narcissism recognizes that it's appropriate not to make so many public presentations because of that risk. Behind closed doors, Biden has such a quick-trigger temper that some aides try to avoid meeting alone with him. Some take a colleague, almost as a shield against a solo blast, wrote Alex Thompson, a reporter for Axios. In some instances, that might actually help the individual, because where there is an audience, the possibility of the facade dampening down the ignition of fury becomes heightened. It's not guaranteed. A narcissist could still blow up at somebody in front of somebody else, and particularly where there's only one or two other people watching rather than the world at large. But it does have the potential, as a consequence of the implementation of a facade, to possibly reduce slightly the risk of a solo blast of ignited fury being directed at one particular individual in front of another colleague. The president's admonitions include, "God damn it, how the fuck don't you know this? Don't fucking bullshit me and get the fuck out of here." Use of insult, ignited fury. According to current and former Biden aides who have witnessed and been on the receiving end of such outbursts. Thompson, who is writing a book about the Biden presidency, told the Times that no one was immune from the outbursts. There is occasionally a menacing and humiliating tone to his diatribes. A diatribe is a sense of his grandiosity and entitlement. The menacing aspect of it is the superiority that comes with the position that he holds. It's not just junior staff. People do bring in reinforcements in anticipation of those, because they do come with some frequency. Biden is well aware that he's prone to losing his temper, sometimes blaming it on his Irish roots, blame shifting. As an upper mid-range narcissist, he knows that he loses his temper, but he doesn't know the real reason why it happens, and his narcissism causes him to blame it on other things or other people. Despite this, Thompson believes he has built up a loyal coterie, a long-serving staff, because some of these people made the calculation that his virtues outweigh his faults. Or, in other words, they're not subjected to the corrective devaluation as often as they are subjected, for instance, being members of the facade and being praised and flattered. There was a glimpse of the profanity Biden saves for private moments when he was caught on a hot mic in January last year, calling Peter Ducey, a reporter with Fox News, a stupid son of a bitch. Insult, crack in the facade. NBC News has reported how international allies can also be on the receiving end. In a phone call in June last year with President Zelensky to set out the latest $1 billion of US funding, Biden lost his temper when the Ukrainian president started listing all the additional help he needed and wasn't getting. Threat to control. Biden was heard to say in a raised voice that the American people were being generous, his administration was working hard to help Ukraine, and Zelensky could show more gratitude. It's the worst-kept secret in Washington that Joe does have a temper. Well, in actual fact, people call it a temper, but it's ignited fury. Reference to his temper was made by Chris Whipple, author of The Fight of His Life inside Joe Biden's White House. But both authors rejected suggestions that Biden's temper was noticeably worsening with age, pointing to examples of outbursts throughout his career. This would then support the proposition, as I've advanced, that his rage, his fury, comes as a consequence of his narcissism and not something else. In Lucky, the story of Biden's 2020 campaign told by Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes, Biden's moods are blamed for slow and poor decision-making. Biden's temper and his willingness to unleash it in small group settings, not upsetting overall the facade, was one reason the people closer to him often avoided pushing him too hard to change his ways or take a particular course of action, they wrote. Meetings often ended with no clear outcome. Well, there would be a clear outcome for Joe Biden. He maintains, of course, the assertion of control. Some Republicans seized on the revelations to suggest the White House promoted them to improve the president's image. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted, "That story was so obviously placed and written to make it sound like Biden isn't suffering from late-stage dementia." Well, he might be suffering from dementia, but what he actually has is narcissism, and this is an example of his heated, ignited fury. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.